Okay, this is it. Okay, why? I mean, I'm sorry. Daniela knows me a bit. I mean, I showed up the first time in Rome, and I said I will be getting the largest client that there is in the world for telematics, which happened. Is Unipol. So I am a kind of. I mean, I did a little bit of the IBM thing. We will be completely killing the banks. So allow me a little bit of what we call in Italian a poetic license. Meaning that from time to time I will be completely stepping out of the charts and give you the messages that I believe are more relevant, okay? Why we in Allianz are actually supposed to be talking about telematics? Because we run a platform, okay? Everybody else is buying the platform from somebody else. We run it. So we have seen 14 billion of kilometers driven, we have seen 14 billion trip points, and we have seen 2.4 billion trips. So again, going back to one of the leitmotifs of this conference, we have seen the data. No? We have also run multiple experiments. I mean, some of these things are just experiments. Some of these things that you see on this chart are real. Some of these have 50,000 cars because they have been launched 2 years ago. Some of them have hundreds of thousands, like in Italy. Of course, I mean, in Italy is the largest market. So, I mean, we have accumulated some experience with both for private and fleet. And, over time, what we have discovered is that, building these telematics offerings has to do a lot with the core, the insurance services, black box, what I call the industrial base of telematics, meaning a black box a device sending information to a backend that then does all the data crunching. But then there are also ancillary services that you have to build around them. So I mean, just to give you an idea, I've been actually joining 2 months ago Allianz after IBM. And my main task is to help developing telematics, And so most of my time is spent talking to Allianz worldwide partners and Allianz partners, who are our 2 units dedicated to talking to the OEMs, meaning Volkswagen, Opel. Because I truly believe that it is about managing our ecosystem and bringing a good value proposition. So enough for the intro. How do we do it? Well, I very much agree with Mr. Teilmeier. Hopefully the pronunciation is not too far from the, well, it's fair. I'm still learning German, sorry. So, first of all, it's about the value proposition. The one thing that, as an Italian, strikes me, I am the owner of 2 policies with devices, one for my motorcycle and one for my car. The one for my car is with Allianz. Is that I don't see the point. There is no clear definition of the value proposition. It's basically give me a black box and a discount with it. So, the one thing that we are trying to do as Allianz Technology SPA, meaning the Italian branch, which is dedicated to telematics, is why don't we sit down and redefine the value proposition for a change? Let me give you an example. If you go to the UK, it's all about young drivers. Are we sure? Can we do something more, something different? And can we ensure mainstream people like me and try to, get a meaningful value proposition for these people? So, what we feel is actually one thing that is missing at the moment is that, it's about digitalization, if you like. We have a lot of these things happening, and we don't have a clear value proposition behind it. So, to give you an example, with the Italians, we are sitting down, and we are clearly approaching 2 issues. Issue number 1, I want to definitely improve my pricing. It cannot be a traditional motor MTPL pricing with a discount on top or a premium aggravation, as we say in Italian. It cannot be like that. And by the way, the actuaries are all too happy to agree. And the second thing is, how comes that we in Italy in general barely use telematics data for claims management? And don't get me wrong, there has been a famous court settlement, the Viterbo Viterbo is actually a very nice town close to Rome. And in Viterbo, what they decided is that actually telematics data is a lawful way of understanding whether something really happened or not. And the company, Unipol, at the time, they didn't pay the claim. And that was a landmark treatment. Now, we should be, in Italy, we are already looking into improving our tariff and improving our claims management. And this is a very practical way of thinking about having a meaningful value proposition. So if you like, my piece of advice is think about the customer before you think about the device. Everybody's talking to me about, SMAS versus anything else, and I frankly don't see the point. And I come from IBM, so I should actually see the point in technology. The other two things that we are focusing enormously on are the approach to the customer and the customer delivery model. So the solution has to make sense from the perspective of the client. It cannot be, as in the case of my motor insurance, I will not be telling you from whom I did buy that policy, okay? But to get it fitted on my motorbike, it took me 1 month. That cannot be at all. For 1 month, I wasn't even sure if, in the event of theft of a new bike, I would have been covered or not. That is nonsensical, no? What we firmly believe is that you start with some proofs of concept, and we do many of them in Allianz, to the risk of being labeled as somebody who doesn't get it right. Because every single time a manager asks for the money for a POC, you then think about how do I explain where it doesn't work. But in reality, we are doing a lot of it because it makes a lot of sense to run them. Let me give you an example. We are probably, I say probably because I'm not sure, because I haven't been around in Allianz enough. We are probably the first insurance company in Europe that actually hooked itself up on the OnStar onboard telematics system from General Motors, okay? And so we have something running with Opel at the moment. And this is actually something that we wanted to trial, even if it is extremely difficult to understand whether these people want to do a real business with you or not. The other example being FCA. FCA, they tell you, oh yeah, we have a marketplace, and please hook on top of our marketplace. FCA, really? First in Italy, and nobody being complete, nobody in the other markets, probably not a real proposition. But anyway, to make a long story short, trialing is actually part of what we very actively do. Then the issue of the integration with the IT systems. With all due respect, I believe that the legacies will be there forever. I started my career as a technology person building what is now in Allianz, in Allianz Italy, the policy management system for P&C. That was my first assignment. And guess what? In a renewed version, it is still there. So you will deal with the legacies for probably most of your professional life. So you better think about it. Now, how do we do it in practice? No. We use the tool of the customer journey. So thinking all the steps from promotion up to where the contract either it expires, it's extended, or it's changed, or anything else. And to give you 2 examples of stuff that is actually working, because good ideas are one a dime, and things that work are actually worth millions. So this is all secure. It's in Germany, and it is based on our systems. By the way, we are also doing trials without using our backend, meaning Allianz technology. And this is how it works. You have the promotion, you install the app, you do the score determination, okay? In this case, there is no upfront discount. I like this very much because I don't like the Italian style of recognizing to you a discount before I even know who you are. Okay, I'm not a strong believer in that one. Then there is the contract, the contract sign off. At that point, you switch onto pay how you drive, and then the scoring begins. Okay. And then based on the actual results, there is actually a cashback component. You might do it in several ways. Instead of the cashback, you can have, other reward systems. But in any case, I'm recognizing I'm giving to you money back after the fact, not before the fact. Okay, and this is actually the way to do it. By the way, is this new? Oh, well, I believe that everybody in the room is familiar with the concept of deductible. Okay, and there has been a time in Lloyd Adriatico when we run a proof of concept on deductibles. It was our main product at the time, and what we discovered is that there is an issue of self-selection. So people that knew that they were not going to pay a deductible were actually buying the policy. And this is exactly the way it works for this kind of product. People know, they understand it, and therefore they say, okay, I want to have it. And I'm running the risk because I know I will get my cash back at the end of the day. And this is about the value proposition, isn't it? Okay, it's a very simple thing. I like it very much. And this is the one I don't like, which is the Italian one. But this is I mean, we live in a market in which, unfortunately, Allianz has to be there. I mean, you cannot go against the flow. The flow is about a flat upfront discount. So people are expecting to get with the small device the discount as well. And then, there is the issue of the contract sign-off. There is the issue of the onboard unit installation, whether it is slapped on top of the battery or it is, professionally installed. And then, there is also the app installation. By the way, if you're talking about the app installation, this is already something that could be vastly improved because, from my perspective, being an insurer and having been raised with the idea that you have 2 contact points with your customer. One is every year, and the other one is actually on average, with the claims frequency in Italy at 5% every 20 years for a claim. Then you probably want to multiply your contact points, and you use the app. I mean, we look at our smartphones for looking at such silly things, if you think about it. And frankly speaking, the way I drive, where I'm going, the driving style, whether I'm doing it right or not, I mean, this is actually very relevant. It is more relevant to my life than not, checking what's going on the social media sometimes, apart from making fun of my friends. Then, of course, there is the score determination and renewal at premium. What is actually dangerous with this kind of format is that people expect to get a discount for the rest of their lives. Yep. The last thing that I wanted to say is that, actually, I will be, even if I'm Italian, I will be actually closing before, which is, well, this is actually a better performance than a German. I'm very proud of myself. If you look at this, I mean, why am I putting this chart on? Because, we have tested. I am the only one who has not been able to test it because it doesn't run on my phone. But anyway, we have tested the smartphone as a sensor, and it actually works, okay? It works if you use it in a smart way, meaning that that you have to combine all the onboard sensors, the GPS, the accelerometer, the gyro, and the magnetic compass, in order to understand whether people are really moving around or not. And this is a good way of getting into the pockets of a person. You do prospecting. So I mean, I can send you the link of the app, and you start playing with it, and you understand what could be a discount. Of course, again, you got a contact point with the client. The downsides are that my own personal opinion, but I might be right one more time, is that I don't believe that you can run telematics with smartphones only. You will always need the onboard device, meaning you will always need a small dongle. Okay. Fact is that, let's be frank. I mean, if you put at 100 the cost of a telematics solution, well, most of the cost is with the hardware and the connectivity. The rest is pretty low, isn't it? Now, if you take out the large OBU, which, by the way, has a problem of performance because it is on a battery beneath the hood with vibrations and heat. And if you move to something that is most of the times within the cockpit, okay, so while you can run something that is cheaper because, you know, one of those small dongles, it could be like, you know, €7 maybe, say 5. It will go down to 1 eventually. Then this one will be connecting with the phone of the person, and therefore you will be saving on connectivity costs. And just in case, before you ask, if you send -2 pictures of yourself to anybody, okay, you have actually freed up enough connectivity on your phone to run a decent telematics solution. So, you know, just take less pictures of yourself. That's going to be working okay. And so, you know, if you work with that, actually you have something that is definitely cheaper. And just to cover a point that might be asked is, how do I then run the math? Actually, again, it is true that if you're driving on an autobahn at 200 kilometers per hour, I can actually take a data point every kilometer, okay? Because, you know, I can only activate the data sampling if you're braking. Because if you're braking, something is happening. Or if you're hitting a wall, something is happening. But, you know, I got the data point anyway. Instead, if you're driving around in Naples, which is my native town, well, then you better take the data points maybe once a second, okay? So, well, there is an issue of managing the kind of cost, but, you know, it can be done in a smart way. Algorithms are already there. So, you know, the last part of my presentation is we are exactly in the throes of this illusionment for telematics, no? Because, you know, you go to Germany and everybody is telling me, oh, I am so worried about my average premium going down. I will be using your presentation from the GDV a lot because, you know, you should be worried about 25% of your premiums disappearing altogether, right? And everybody worried about the cost. And the final message of this presentation is, you can have this telematics solution working in multiple ways with the right price point, and guess what? You can adapt the kind of solution to exactly the kind of problem you have, no? And for instance, if you are insuring heavy trucks, then probably you want to go for a very expensive solution because you can charge for it. But, you know, if you are insuring a person like me, I mean, unless I am driving my motorbike during the summer, I drive literally less than 1,000 kilometers per month. The rest of the time is spent in the office. So, I mean, really, you have to give me something that is affordable. That's it, I believe.